Zero.
Islam. If you look at what the prophet says and masterfully go into it, even though it's agitating, you know what I'm saying, because you want to tie something else in that you learned somewhere else, or etc. But if you accept the John of this lesson, which is purity, Islam, if you accept the John of this lesson, you can't do nothing but come out right by the process. But if you go into these lessons to try to get the juice out of them, and you mixing them and matching, you're going to look just like that, two mixed jump shoes. Because you're going to be playing the fool by half. Because you're going to hit yourself with the hammer, you're going to mess your finger up, and the plane's going to be all rough, you know, the axe going to end up chopping your own hand off. The plumbing line, you don't go that deep because you're scared because of your own darkness. Islam. So, we got to have some sense of what the prophet is conveying to us. Islam. He wants to bring us out of something. The prophet don't want you just sitting up in front of Kenu Bey, just, you know, saying Islam and, you know, just digesting what I'm saying. But he wants you to become a living manifestation of the teachings. Because these teachings can straighten out your life and your house. But you got to become mastery. In order to become mastery, you have to use perseverance and patience. And you have to empty your cup, all right? So, nature urged thee to inconstancy. O man, therefore guard thyself at all times against it. Thou art from the womb of thy mother. Now, in the creation and fall, it said the child is just as perfect as the mother is. Right?
Islam.
Thou art from the womb of thy mother, bearing and waiting from the loin of thy father. You know about that loin? You know where I go? It's an example of nature. We're talking about the nature. 1 minute you're personally aroused, the next minute you're normal. Back to where you're at. In the womb of a woman, the child is bearing and waving. 1 minute child, there. That's a nature. Now we're more scientists. And these lessons are given to us to build on ourselves and to know ourselves so we can trace that back of our ancestors. Because they had a behavior unlike the behavior that we are recognizing today. And a lot of Moors are trying to mix modern history with ancient history. Or they're trying to contradict ancient history with modern history. They want you to think that ancient history is no more. Truth don't change.
That's right.
Truth do not change. On no plane.
That's right.
Now you may get to the point where you push out a situation where it developed in another image, in another liking. Islam. But it's not from the heart of Allah. Now what do you mean by that? Man is a thought of Allah, right?
Islam.
So the seed is deeply wounded in man on how he's supposed to develop anyway. You can't get off the path of creation on how Allah deemed you to be.
Right.
You have to loosen that cap, bro. Take the cap off, bro. No captivity in here. It's no problem. I'm just explaining why we take the cap off. You know what I'm saying? Because if you take the bib off of it, it's like a little fez, though. Captivity. Islam. But look. That's right, brother. So let me get this lesson out. So that's the main reason I want you to really understand this chapter and go into this chapter. Because you faking if you don't.
Islam.
Because this is the chapter along with instability of man, instability of knowledge and misery. These chapters straighten out them frailties in your life. And if you ain't shopping at these particular stores, you lost. Because inconstancy is powerful.
That's right.
Meaning that you will say one thing to me and do something contrary. You are coming to the more scientific method with the thirst, but not have the intention to carry out the divine instructions. Islam?
Islam.
So you got to have some balance in your life, right?
Islam.
All right, you join the Moorish Science Temple of America to get yourself together, right?
Islam.
You joined the Moorish Science Temple of America after you found out your pedigree, right?
Islam.
You joined the Moorish Science Temple of America when you know there was no such thing as a Negro, black, and colored, that was a mark given to slaves by slaveholders, right?
Islam.
You joined the Moorish Science Temple of America once you found out that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost was a myth made of had clothes out of a thought, right?
Islam.
God, but Allah. And you got a bonus and found out that this Allah was in you.
Islam. Islam.
So all of these things and much more. If you get into the lessons, Islam. I just mentioned a few things. All these things have freed you. The captive souls. Islam. The prophet that come through and kick your tombstone over a nigga. Islam. You know exactly who you are. But now here come the overalls. The one with the hammer on it. The plague and the children of Saul.
Yes, sir.
Here come the letter. And saying, see, could you handle these two? Not use them. Can you handle them in the workshop of the mind? Where things are made of thought and where we build up character.
Right.
It said where things are made of thought, and this is where we build up character. Now you have to go back and ask yourself, say, if I'm what I know, I would have to be it. You don't know anything if you're not it.
That's right.
Man may believe what others say, but thus he would never know. Because you're guessing at it. In order to know, you must be what you know. You can convey something to me, and it can be the God's seven truth. Islam. And I can go back and say, man, what the brother said was enthusiasm about it, was inspiration, motivation, all that about it. Somebody tell me, did you research it? Well, people dance off of James Brown.
That's right.
And the tongue can say anything. We're not saying that anyone said anything contrary, but did you go get the juice of what the brother or sister was talking about? Because when you go get what they was talking about and come to find out it's exactly what they said, you can utilize your five senses to go a little deeper because now you're dealing with you.
That's right. That's right.
Because the gifts of understanding are what?
Are the treasures of Allah.
So if they're treasures, you're applying them.
That's right, Islam.
According to where they go.
Islam.
You don't take your treasure and use them in a direction that they don't go. What I mean by that is this. Thinking, reasoning, willing, and understanding is the bedrock of the action of the soul, right?
Islam.
Facts.
If you don't rule your own thinking, and I'm talking subliminally too, because you might be one of the persons that subliminally is subjected, but thinking you out front. But if you're not in charge of your thinking, in order to be in charge of your thinking, someone have to have taught you how to think.
Facts.
Islam.
Islam.
You do not come up and I think on my own. Well, you don't know what you think about because the Roman schools dumbed us down.
Islam.
From eeny, meeny, miny, mo, from Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, from Dick and James, I got this whole row. We ain't doing no questions now. I'm finna fire this demonstration up. I'm going to chapter, then I'll let you ask me questions. I'm finna get this off today. Islam. You got to learn about what these tools is for. It's a time to ask questions. Islam. So I got to explain there's a dual perception to these tools.
Islam.
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 It's not simply just physical. And a lot of us are incapable of pounding on ourselves the way we should.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
And when one hand you the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America and engage you to get right. And don't be a teacher to you. Then you just send that brother or sister off the cliff because they don't go somewhere and interpret this the way they want to interpret it. When you have people say, oh, I can read, well, you can't just jump in the prophet demonstration and take off like that, Joe. I don't care who you've been under. Because this say know thyself. That's a scary situation with the things that goes on in your life. So you can pretend in front of somebody else that you got it straight. Even up on the plains of Soul, there are, a number of folks.
Right.
So you can fool somebody else thinking that you can navigate these teachings. Action is her delight.
Islam.
We have to see an increase of behavior.
Islam.
We just see no conversation.
Right.
I mean, you're on the surface of the measure. You playing the fool by half. Islam.
Islam.
And when you don't see yourself, other discover you must blame. I'm saying this to especially newcomers that coming in. You may see people with these feathers on, and they may talk and say they with the prophet. But if you really stop back and say, you with the prophet know what you are, you don't attend no meetings, you don't pay no dues, you don't live in line with no necessities. You don't. Mo, what are you doing? And put your pants up, Mo.
Islam.
We good. What are you doing? Yeah, Mo. If you're not a mufti, we don't need nobody to do nothing. Islam? Nobody asks you to do nothing. We don't need no volunteer. We have people assigned to do things up in here. Islam?
Islam.
So we want to keep it organized. Islam?
Islam.
Don't need anybody jumping up around here. We got it together. You been appointed to do something, then you do it. Islam?
Islam.
So it's good. I like the intention. Islam?
Islam.
Yeah, we got to work here on that too. Islam? But what I'm saying is this. If we don't have a real understanding of our nature, and when it calls us to inconsistency, Islam? Actually, you can remove your mask. We bleach it down. We good up here. Allah leading on. Victory is sure. I have never seen a disease that you can measure in the air. 6 feet back, 6 feet buried. Islam. You know, they told you to put it on, but nobody informed us when we supposed to take it off, so we got a problem. Islam. But it's good to be cautious. Islam. But you've been living all your life. You know what I'm saying? And people been catching colds, sneezing, and falling out. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on today that we're so afraid? But anyway, but take your precaution. But we those of you who've just come in, we in the chapter 41. But we're not going to stay in that chapter long. I'm just using that chapter as an example. Islam as a prelude to what I want to talk about in chapter 5. Islam?
Islam.
Because I want to talk about the copper, the tools, and how we should use them, how they will benefit us. If we can just get into the depths of what the prophet teaches is and start developing things on the basis of what he instructs us to do. Islam?
Islam.
It's about following the instructions of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, not Kenu Bey, because his instructions will be in conjunction with our Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, not someone else. Islam?
Islam.
You know, but I just want to continue to pound on you the simplicity of learning to live out what you proclaim to be. Islam?
Islam.
Rather than being hypocrisy. You know, you got people that say they represent this, and they represent this, and they represent that, but there is no consistency. Islam?
Islam.
And they don't see their own behavior is the root cause of the deviation and the shame that's spread upon their face. Because they make their words in the semblance of truth. But the business of their life is only to deceive.
Islam.
Did you hear what I'm saying?
Islam.
Listen to me. Hear you say something out of your mouth to someone, and you don't meet what you say as a performance and a promise, but come back around that same person as though they don't have no memory of the bond, or what you say, and act normal.
Islam.
That's a dangerous person. Islam? I'm gonna wait till you all be still. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about me, I teach. And I don't like a lot of movement. Islam? You know what I'm saying? And because I'm trying to get you the essence of what I'm talking about. Islam? So you can leave out here with some ingredients.
That's right.
On how to put a fix to your problem.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah.
Islam, well, you know your nationality, your birthright, change your divine creed. Know that you're not Negro. Know you're not black. You're not colored. These are slave names. Marks, like you mark a cow or duck or something. Property. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. Prophet Noble Drew Ali are bringing you back into the constitutional full reality of who you are and who your forefathers were.
That's right. Islam.
And we're not only talking it, we're bringing it into fruition.
Islam.
And it takes strong men and women to step up to that constitution and understand. Islam?
Islam.
So, that's the lesson. Islam. Inconstancy. Nature urged thee to inconstancy. O man. Therefore, God thyself at all times against it.
Islam.
Thou from the womb of thy mother, various and waving from the loin of thy father, inherit thou instability. How then shall thou be firm?
Wow.
Now you got these two great felons of thy nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
These two great felons of thy nature, your mama and your daddy, that you don't even know nothing about their life. All you know is mama and dad, I'm talking their personal life. What affects them, like affects you today? Things that your mother would tell you about, things that you don't tell your mother about. But you feel like you're going to solve on your own. Islam? That's you. That's part of your nature. Thou from the womb of thy mother, various and waving. Any woman that has a baby, tell you one minute the baby over there and one minute the baby over there. That's a nature. Any man to tell you as he's a man, one minute he's excited and one minute he's not excited. You know what I mean by that? Islam. We don't have no children. I could have just put it right away. But look, but that's a nature of performance.
That's right.
In character. There's people, one minute they over there, one minute they over there, one minute they up and one minute they down. So now we have to find some firm resolution in the intent of our action.
That's right, brother.
Once we get that resolution, that's the determining factor where we will it into manifest. I am who I am. I said stop and then stop. I control me.
That's right.
Not the bodies of desire.
Islam.
Once you're conscious that there are two selves, and we went over that in the one-on-ones, right?
Islam.
There's a higher self and the other is what?
Lower self.
The higher self is the mother of virtue, right?
Islam.
The mother of morals.
That's right. Islam.
The lower self is the carnal self. It's the body of desire.
Islam.
I didn't say it was evil.
Islam.
That's it.
I didn't say it was evil at all. I said the lower self is the carnal self.
That's right. Islam.
It's the body of desire. You desire water, you desire food, you desire a multitude of things. Islam?
Islam.
But there with the body comes a shadow.
Islam, brother.
Islam.
We call him a devil. Islam?
Islam.
So we're not going to tear with that because we all have one.
Islam.
But when we learn to master the lesson like David of the light,
Islam.
who slayed the strong Goliaths of the dark and seek the saving love upon the throne,
Islam.
when we get like that, then we the message that the prophet brought.
That's right.
Islam.
We got to fix the problem, right? So I'm
Islam.
not just here to talk to you about no more signs and to cite you about my language. I'm telling within you, you a master.
That's right.
Islam.
But you ain't a master until you become a master. And
Islam.
before you a master, you got to be a master student.
Islam. Islam.
That's right.
You got to sit at somebody's feet.
Islam, brother.
Anybody jump up and tell you that he know it all, you need to get away from him.
Islam.
You're dangerous.
Facts.
Because every living thing is bound by a cord. No man live unto himself. You came out your mother, you were bound by a cord.
Islam.
It took somebody to cut that demonstration and tie it into a knot. You got to call memory to your aid. That every living thing is bound by a cord. But what about the great cord of the great God Allah that you know nothing about? And that's why your will is sluggish. Because you into a modern world, modern idea, modern mentality, modern mannerism, modern relationship, modern this, and none of it works.
Islam.
None of it work, man. That's why it says to honor thy mother and thy father that thy days may be longer upon the earth plane which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee. Because when you gas up with your ancient mothers and fathers, you're on the path to righteousness. You ain't trying to be like Donald Duck or somebody else.
He said
Because following other people, you damn duck.
Yes, sir. Islam.
I don't disrespect Facebook to anybody that has that last name, Donald or Doug. I'm just saying, we need to straighten ourselves out.
Right.
And out from this Sunday school comes what?
The God of the nation.
And that tells you, that tells you that when you learn here, you got to, it's on you to go back out there and do your part.
Islam.
We look for leaders in here. We don't look for no followers up in here.
Islam.
We have a contract in here that we have to really meet. When we separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity. We have a bond of affection.
That's right.
Now, I want to get back to the lesson too, kind of like deviating. But I went to inconsistency to show you the inconsistency. 1 minute we will it, 1 minute we will it not. 1 minute with God, next we Lord one. 1 minute I say I'm gonna do something, 1 minute I ain't gonna do it. But you have to watch people. Because sometimes they do use that magic. But they use it for the wrong reason.
That's right.
They don't miss going to work.
Yeah.
They don't miss checking on anything they got to do with wrong. But something that they own, I got to do this. I got to do this. Because you're not monitoring yourself. You actually think, well, this gonna help me. This keep my lights and gas on. Did you say your light and gas? Your light? And what gas you up?
All right. That's it. Islam.
I know it may sound all poetic. It's mysterious. You say what keep your light and your gas on.
Right.
Allah is the one that gave you the free will to even go out and seek what you call employment.
Islam. Teach.
And you gonna make him second. Well, that's another lesson. Islam.
Islam.
All right, now look. Chapter 5. All right. Who made you?
Allah.
Okay, then why do many of us look like Negroes? Can we see him?
No.
Look at the face man, look at the image of our lives. The literature right there, man. It's how you present it, man. The prophet didn't bring you here to pressurize this and theorize this and sit back and be scary and just talk about the book of man. Just be a good one. Don't move, just be good. Read your lesson, just keep reading. Read. I'm asking you a question until you're 99 years old. Action is her delight.
Islam.
We gotta have something more.
Islam.
We gotta build something for our babies because they the one gotta carry this on.
That's right, brother.
Right. No
Islam.
Our children. It should be the most important thing to us right now of leaving a legacy of understanding of what we're attempting and trying to do over this part here, man. So they can carry on the work.
Teach grand.
Islam.
Teach grand.
But if you ain't right, you gonna leave them. What are you gonna live? Debate? Oh, you debate with my grand shit. No, you ain't debate, but I'm with the prophet. No. I went to Kenu Umar Bey. Never no Kenu Umar Bey. Now tell me out there, it says his name is at the bottom. It's probably Noble Ali. He's the founder of the Moorish Scientific Man. That's it. That's all.
Yes,
And peace and blessings out there for him. So I don't want to leave no legacy with nobody arguing about me. I know you don't want to do the same. Islam?
Right.
So you want your child to be upright. I mean, things come in degrees, right?
Islam.
So we gotta make a higher degree in where we at for our children.
That's right. Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
And we gotta do it in conflict that cannot be told in words. So let's get to that chapter. Chapter 5. I read the front of the Quran already. Islam?
Islam.
Chapter 5. Now we're gonna go into this chapter and we're gonna get an understanding. But I really want to say that chapter on inconsistency is what destroys a lot of relationships too. Because if you're not in tune with instability and inconsistency, it's a lot of that goes on in a relationship. Islam?
Islam.
1 minute they love each other, 1 minute they don't. You know what I'm saying? 1 minute they're happy, 1 minute they're not. So if you ain't got that together, I don't care how much you tell somebody, because Allah is love. And if you ain't super believe in the love of the great God Allah, you're talking about some passion and some lust.
Right.
If you're going to love somebody, you got to love them with Allah.
Islam.
And what I mean by that, just as much as love is right.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
And you got to be serious when you do it, man.
Islam.
You got to be sincere. So let's get in this chapter. Chapter 5. After the feast, the homeward journey to listen Jesus. To search for him, his parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, symbolic meaning of the carpenter too. Verse 1. Now, sometimes I don't use verse, I just go here and read, and this would be one time. Islam. The great feast of the past was ended, and the Nazarene were journeying toward their homes. And they were in Samaria. And Mary said, "Where is my son?" No one had seen the boy. And Joseph sought among their kindreds who were on their way to Galilee. But they had seen him not. Then Joseph, Mary, and the son of Zebedee returned and sought through all Jerusalem. They could find him not. And Mary asked the guards, had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old? The guard replied, yes. He's in the temple now, disputing with the doctor of the law. 12 years old. What was you doing in there? 12 years old. Disputing with the doctors of the law. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And they went in and found him as the guard had said. And Mary said, why, Jesus? Why do you treat your parent thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We feared that some great harm had overtaken you. And Jesus said, do you not know that I must be about my Father's work? Smart little 12 years old, ain't he? But he went around and pressed the hand of every doctor of the law and said, I trust that we meet again. And then he went forth with his parents on their way to Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. Now this is where we go.
All right.
This is where I want to be. Islam?
Islam.
Somebody need to get a nice demonstration from that way. Islam, as many as you can. Here we go. This is where I want to go. The Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. Now I want to say this because this is talking about putting yourself together, right? As a carpenter. We ain't talking about building no house. We're talking about carpenter. Now, here's some instructions on how we can put Humpty Dumpty back together again, okay?
Right.
Now listen. Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
One day, listen.
Yeah.
One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, these tools remind me of the one we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things were made of thought and where we build up character. Notice, he didn't say use, he said handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And you got to be able to handle these tools in the right manner.
Right.
To make that pristine beauty become a reality. Islam?
Islam.
Because you may pound a little bit too hard. Islam?
Islam.
May chisel a little bit, may swing the axe a little bit too hard. Islam? You may think you're drawing a circle and you're drawing something else.
Islam.
You may get the wrong tools. You may think you got the tools of the workshop of the mind. You work with the screwdriver and the crowbar, trying to pry your way in and screwing it up at the same time. Islam?
Islam.
So let's work it out. Islam? Where things were made of thought and where we build up character. We use the square to measure all. You ain't got to write that. I got some stuff for you. You got this in your Quran, so you can easily go back to this. We use the square. Now, if you ain't doing this, that's the reason you still got problems. I'm not just reading this to you for exacerbated theorizing. If you are not applying these tools to the instruction and the way they give it, that's the main reason you are who you are in the defective mannerism.
Islam.
Islam? So listen, we use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked place of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw circles around our passions
Right.
and desires,
Yeah.
to keep them in the bounds of righteousness.
Islam.
We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts
Islam.
and make the character symmetrical. We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it is a part of every part. Islam?
Islam.
We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surface of joint and block and board that go to build the temple for truth. The chisel line the plumbing, and the saw all have their use in the workshop of the mind. And then this ladder, with this trinity of steps, faith, that's what you got to do it with. Probably laying it all out there. That's what you got to do it with. It's ready in your Quran. And then this ladder, with this trinity of steps,
Yeah.
faith, hope, and love. On it, that's what you climbing, boys.
Islam.
On it,
Islam.
we climb up to the dome of purity. You got to clean up in life. And on the 12-step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of perfected man.
Islam.
That's easy.
Islam.
I mean, once you really look at that, that's really simple anymore. I mean, I'm talking to all of you. Once you look at the strategy on how to get that done, you can unfold that in one short breath. Because the will of man make possible the action of the holy breath. When will of man and will of Allah are one, God are one, the resurrection is fact, because you ain't got to go outside yourself.
Islam, bro.
Where's the next place to meet him?
In the heart.
Alright.
So what you doing all over there? The kingdom is within.
Yes, sir.
How you gonna make a thought? How I'm gonna praise this bottle? And the thought to make that bottle came from within.
Islam. Islam.
It does not make the essence of myself. The real me
Islam.
came from the altar created and governed of the world almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible.
Islam.
I cannot tell nobody I'm the potencies of God, the attribute of God, and I'm liking all those potentials by begging. Islam?
Islam.
It is.
It is.
I look
Islam.
fired up on that one. Look. Look, hey, Robert said, "Give yourself." Now, let's talk about these two from a dual perspective.